Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Friday, January 15, 2016, around 8:11 in the evening in Belleville, Massachusetts. It's clouding up tonight, and we're going to get a kind of a rainstorm overnight, highs in the 30s and stuff. Towards the end, it might change to some snow and freezing rain, but little or no accumulation in the Boston area. And you have to go to Worcester and the Mackinac region, where 1 to as much as 3 inches of slushy snow be on the ground tomorrow, and everything west of 128 is under winter weather advisory, except for the Cape and the islands. But honestly, I don't think there'll be too much snow in Belleville, Massachusetts and stuff. I think maybe that probably be a colding at worst, maybe a half inch or stuff. Some news to report: it's Happy National Strawberry Ice Cream Day, so I hope you had strawberry ice cream. And also, the Arizona Coyotes traded forward John Scott to the Montreal Canadiens. John Scott was the top vote getter for the Pacific Division for the All-Star game, and the NHL and the Coyotes asked him to bow out of the All-Star game because he's not a great player, but he got voted in by the fans. He says, "I'm not doing it because I want to play in the All-Star games for the fans." So the Coyotes traded him to the Canadiens, and the Canadiens decided to send him to the minor leagues, the AHL, meaning most likely John Scott's not going to play in the All-Star game. And Reggie Wayne, who played 14 years in the NFL's announcing his retirement. Next stop for him, Canton. And that's about it on news. My third and final video blog subject tonight is my personality profile. Tonight's personality profile is about former professional wrestler Steve Kerin. Steve Kerin was a professional wrestler for over 20 years. He was known for being a part of a tag team with Stan Lane. They were the Fabulous Ones. They wrestled in regional territories for about 5-6 years in the 80s. Steve was born and grew up in Tampa, Florida. That was the home of Championship Wrestling from Florida. He must have watched it with Gordon Soley, the dean of wrestling announcers. And Steve went to high school with Mike Graham, whose father was Eddie Graham, the owner of Championship Wrestling from Florida. They were on the same wrestling team in high school, and Steve wrestled some state championships in Florida. Then he becomes trained to be a professional wrestler by Hiro Matsuda and Eddie Graham. Steve makes his debut in 1971, and for the first 10 years, it was basically a single star, winning some Florida heavyweight championships and some junior heavyweight championships in regional territories. He was even a tag team partner of Mike Graham, and they were Florida tag team champions a couple of times. There was rumors in the late 70s that Steve wasn't on the short list by Vince McMahon Sr. to be a long-term WWE champion, but it went to Bob Backlund instead, but Steve was on the short list. Around 1981, Steve goes to Memphis, and he's teamed with Stan Lane. They become the Fabulous Ones. They were a pretty boy tag team, kind of a white meat babyface tag team. And for the next 5 years, they go from regional territory to regional territory, winning tag team championships. They were one of the most popular tag teams in all of wrestling. Their big money run was AWA, but they never wrested the AWA World Tag Team Champions from the Road Warriors, who were they feuding with in the AWA in 1985. In 1987, the Fabulous Ones break up as Stan Lane becomes part of the Midnight Express with Bobby Eaton, and Steve stays in Florida. He eventually hosts Championship Wrestling from Florida as a play-by-play announcer. When Championship Wrestling from Florida folds, Steve opens up a training school, and he trains a lot of people who want to become wrestlers and stuff. And Steve still wrestled in a couple of promotions trying to revive championship wrestling from Florida, like the Professional Wrestling Federation, which was, kind of reviving championship wrestling for Florida, but it was, or Florida Championship Wrestling, what they sometimes called it, but it could not duplicate the success of CWF. In 1991, Steve goes to the WWE and is given a gimmick called Skinner, who was like an alligator hunter from the Everglades and stuff. He was a heel, and he was like, he chewed tobacco and stuff. The Skinner gimmick was just a mid-card gimmick and stuff. Skinner didn't get too many title opportunities and stuff. He wrestled very few pay-per-view cards. He was like on like WrestleMania 8 jobbing to Owen Hart, and he was also jobbing to Bret the Hitman Hart this Tuesday in Texas and stuff. And eventually the Skinner gimmick just died out. Steve continued with the WWE. He was he was the second Doink in 1993 and stuff. Eventually Steve got released from WWE, and then he went to WCW and he formed a tag team with Bobby Eaton. They were called Bad Attitude, but they did not go anywhere. They were actually jobbing to the Armstrong brothers in dark matches at pay-per-views and stuff. Eventually Steve leaves WCW and he stays and moves back to Florida, and he still operates his wrestling school today and stuff. A couple of times he reunited with Stan Lane for the Fabulous Ones and a couple of tours in the late 1990s and stuff. And in the 2000s, Steve signed with WWE as a producer and agent. Eventually, he worked for the developmental territory in Florida, and then NXT as he's a trainer for that. And he's been a respectable trainer, and you sometimes see him from time to time breaking up fights on WWE TV. He actually reprised his role as Skinner in the Battle Royal for Raw 15th anniversary and stuff. And Steve's is a journeyman wrestler and stuff, and was very, very successful and stuff. I don't know if he'll ever go into WWE Hall of Fame, but you never know these days. And that's about it on Steve Kerin, and that's about it on these video blogs, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Tomorrow you'll get the same 3 video blogs, but different subjects. First video blog will be about stand-up poetry, a former BA TV show hosted by Jack McCarthy, who was a poet. Second video blog is about the former WWE tag team, the Dream Team, Brutus Barber Beefcake, Greg the Hammer Valentine, eventually Greg the Hammer Valentine, and Dino Bravo. And the third and final video blog of the night will be about actor, comedian, game show host Howie Mandel. Keep calm, everybody. I'm Julie Guy. Molly Rosenblatt of WCCO. Roxanne has nice legs. Elizabeth's heart is so stunning. She's the best. Amy Swenzi's so awesome. Julie Donaldson of Comcast Sports Mid-Atlantic is the best, and she's my TV sports crush. Julie Trammell's #1. And in the words of Bob Brennan, former executive director of Boys and Girls Club of Greater America, go find something to do. Don't forget Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Shout-outs and plugs, send me them, and it will be shouted out. If you don't send me shout-outs or plugs, I can't plug it. Good night. See you tomorrow.